Hey everybody, welcome to my channel and my first YouTube video. I finally have a channel up and running. So thank you for stopping by. The idea behind making this channel is to be able to share more content directly with you all about my spiritual experience, what's been going on in my spiritual path, and what I've learned in the whole process of conscious living. So I hope it'll be a great benefit to you. So I thought my first video would be to talk about my spiritual awakening, or when I began my spiritual path, which happened about, well, I was 16 at the time officially when it happened. So that's half my lifetime. You can work out the age that I'm probably at now then. Some background: my mum's always been very spiritual, but she never put any of her beliefs or experiences on me. She kept it to herself. I did believe in God. I wasn't religious, but I did believe there was angels and there was life after death. There was something more going on, but I never really gave too much thought what. Until I lost my grandparents when I was 15. I lost my grandfather, and then within 6 months my nan deteriorated and we lost her. So that was a big blow for me. It was a 6-month period in the middle of taking exams at school, and I kind of had a nervous breakdown. I developed severe anxiety and almost like depression, and I became a recluse. I didn't feel that I fit in with the world. I lost all confidence, and I just didn't know what to do with my life. So I turned to spirituality a bit more, then speaking to my mum about a few things, and I was just naturally drawn to things like trying to meditate just to try and calm the anxiety down originally, crystals, and I would sit in with my mum and some of her friends in some spiritual circles. Everything just started to make a bit more sense as I was learning a bit more at the time about psychic development, spirit guides, angels, and that we are spiritual beings living a human experience. Certain things would make sense to kind of ease some of the things that I was going through. So that was what began me on my path. And then I went to a Mind Body Spirit Fair when I was 16, and I met a friend there at the Mind Body Spirit event who offered to help develop, to give me psychic development training for free, and we became friends, and that's how it all sort of began with me. I sort of started doing readings, psychic readings, clairvoyance, and some like spiritual healing like Reiki. All dabbled in different things like that. Began to feel things and intuitively sense things and pick things up with people, which is really weird to begin with. And then eventually I began to tune in more to the self-development sort of side. We were always learning anyway, but I began to look at Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Neale Donald Walsch. So it was a gradual progression for me. So what was an initial bit of anxiety and trauma with the loss of my grandparents, it would put me in a place where I was sort of a recluse. I hit rock bottom, away from everyone else. And then crystals, spiritual friends, meditation, psychic work suddenly turned on these I don't know what you'd call it, these antennas inside my head, and everything was just making sense. And so from then I just sort of started learning more about the power of being present, to got into more yoga, and just it all evolved from there, really, to the point where now I realized that everything's consciousness. So for my take, everything I say in these videos is my personal views and opinions and what I feel is right for me. So if this doesn't resonate with you, that's absolutely fine. Just for me, I feel that we are all spiritual beings living a human experience, and we're here to evolve our consciousness as an individual expression of the One, but also to contribute to the expansion of consciousness for the whole, the planetary consciousness, especially in times like this as well, with all this change that's going on. The old energies are going and the new's coming in. But those are topics for other videos. So I do get a lot of questions from people asking me, how did I learn this? How did I learn that? And honestly, it's a gradual progression. It's as I'm sitting in here thinking now about the path that I begun, it's actually quite difficult to explain because it's an organic process. And if you look back, you forget some of the things that happened. But usually when you begin a spiritual awakening, something tends to trigger it. You can have a natural interest, but for me, it was a trauma of some sort. And that's some of the most common ways for an awakening to happen. Usually it's suffering to a certain degree that can trigger that. Because if you end up suffering a certain amount that you can't cope with, eventually it comes to what other alternatives are there. It will just trigger it up. Whether you'll move into a position where you might naturally be more accepting to the possibility of something else. I don't know, but I know that's spoken about a lot, and it happened for me as well. So that's sort of where it sort of began for me, really. There's many different things that I've looked into and tried, but the main takeaway for me where I'm at right now is evolving my consciousness as a being, balancing the human and the spiritual experience, because as much as we talk about our spiritual life, and spiritual is just a term that was commonly used, I don't really like to use the term spiritual because it can give a label that has many different meanings, but for the purpose of knowing what we're talking about, I will use that word. It's getting the balance between the spiritual and also as a person as well as a human. We're meant to merge the two together and be balanced and live from a higher consciousness, our higher selves, rather than ego-based fearful thoughts. And it's about learning to live as consciously as possible in every area of our lives. So it isn't just the psychic development work, it isn't just clairvoyance or readings. It's important to get the balance between who you are as well, with your meditation, and with practicing being present in everything that you do, even the things that you might not enjoy doing. So that's kind of an overview of how it sort of began with me and what triggered my spiritual awakening. You will find as time goes on, the more you tune in, don't think too much about what experiences will I get. Just be present and things will naturally evolve. If you have a natural interest, explore it. Keep an open mind about it. And you'll be surprised where it takes you. And always just look back at the experiences that you've gone through and always see how much and how far you've come. If I look back 15 years ago, from where I was then to where I am right in this moment, it's amazing. So always remember the progress that you make. Don't just keep looking ahead. Be present with where you are as well. Anyway, guys, I hope you did like this video, and I hope it gave you some insight into the awakening that I had and what got me onto my spiritual path. If you did like this video, I really would appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments or feedback, please do leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. And if it resonates, I really would appreciate it if you subscribe for more content on all conscious living. I've also left a link to my Instagram page down below. You can find me on there, where I post all sorts of topics regarding spirituality and living more consciously from my own experience. I post content daily there, so if you feel drawn, please do give that a follow. And yeah, I hope this has been very helpful, and see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.